Welcome to another Arkansas football recruiting report. I'm Nick Petroccioni, joined as always by our Hogville insider, Otis Kirk. Otis, we're going to focus on offense again today and arguably the most important position on the field. Last week, we talked a lot about one quarterback, that five-star, who Arkansas has some serious interest in, or is going to be a five-star more than likely. Now we have two we're going to talk about today, more at the quarterback position. Eli Hollingstein and Kane Archer. We know Kane Archer. We've talked about him here before. Young kid offered by Michigan and Arkansas. We'll get to him in a second. But this Eli Hollingstein is a new offer for the Hogs. What can you tell us about him?
Yeah, they offered him yesterday, I think, or Friday. But here's the deal with him. He's about 6'3", 6'3" and a half, or 6'4", and about 225 pounds. Got a 38-inch vertical jump from Zachary, Louisiana. This kid is Louisiana Player of the Year down there last year with Max Preps. Led his team to a 15-0 state championship as a junior. Has offers. He's got about 24 offers, I think it is. And, there's several SEC schools have offered him. Of course, obviously LSU's one of them there in Louisiana.
Yeah, hometown.
Alabama, Auburn, Arkansas, Georgia.
Wow. So he's got all the top players coming after him.
Mississippi State, Kentucky. He's basically got most of the SEC offered him. And this kid is just a big player. He passed for 3,228 yards and 30 touchdowns as a junior. And as I said, led him to a 15-0 record state championship, rushed for 523 yards and 14 more touchdowns. So
jeez.
He is, and at 6'4", 225, he's very athletic with that 38-inch vertical. And he's the type of kid that can get out, or he's like KJ Jefferson. He's the type of player that can cause a defensive issues simply because of his size. He's not easy to bring down, as you would, as you know. So somebody that big, they're not easy to tackle them, and he could really bring a lot to he's going to bring a lot to any school that lands him, be it Arkansas, A&M, LSU, Alabama, Auburn, whoever gets him.
And that height, 6'4", too, that's exactly what you want out of even a pro style type of quarterback to have that type of frame.
Yeah, and this kid, I don't know, he's rated a high 4-star, and I don't know if that's a pro style or as a dual threat. But it shows he can run because he had 523 yards and 14 touchdowns. So at that size, he may not be one that runs the ball like you're going to think of a wishbone quarterback in the old days, but he's very capable of doing that. And simply his size is going to allow him to get a lot of yards rushing simply because he's just so big, Like KJ. I've seen KJ just run over people,
Yeah, and he was like 245, so look 20 pounds heavier.
Yeah, and he's 20 pounds heavier, and this kid's just in the 11th grade at 225 pounds. So we don't know. He may be about as big as KJ when he gets to college. Mm-hmm. So definitely somebody that can fit into what I'm getting at with this kid. I think he can play in any offense, and that's why you see schools that use the dual threat recruiting him, schools that use a pro style recruiting him. I think he's very capable of playing any style of offense that a school wants to run with him.
And he's a junior, so he's right around the corner. Every school on this guy's tail. And we look into the way future with the next guy we're talking about. We know, everyone in Arkansas seems to know this name, Kane Archer. We've spoken to him before. I know you've been in contact with a while out of Greenwood, Arkansas. What's the update? Because I think you have some exciting news with Kane.
Yeah. Well, he was here Thursday at the practice, and for anyone keeping up with dates, that was March 31st. Because the joke on Twitter was when he said this that it was at April Fool's, because what he said to me in my story that ran Friday morning, it did run on April 1st, but it was not an April Fool's story. He said, if I can go to Arkansas, that's where I want to go. It's my home state. So he said the program is uphill, is going uphill right now. So this is a kid that, this is Kane talking to me. So I'm not going to hold him like, let's don't just hold his feet to the fire about that comment, but that is a promise.
He's young. Comment. Yeah. What class? He's class of what again?
2026.
He's going into ninth, right?
Yeah. He's going into ninth. No, ninth grade, yeah.
Hmm.
And he led his Greenwood team to a great season down there, eighth and ninth graders. But regardless, I mean, it shows you kind of the point of that quote to me is it's because if I really thought it was a commitment, or if it had been somebody older, I'd have read it in my headline. But I didn't because I don't want to. He's young, but I think it shows you the point that Sam Pittman has got this program to 3 years. He's got young kids that are now seeing the program on the uprise, going up, and they make statements like that because they are excited about
Hmm.
Razorback football. Whereas before, a kid might have mentioned Oklahoma or Alabama or somebody. Now they are mentioning Arkansas, and so that's good.
Right.
He's got offers to Arkansas, Missouri, and Michigan, and I mean that's unheard of for
And
an
he's
eighth
the
grade kid to
yeah,
have those three
that
offers.
young.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the number one quarterback in the class of 2026.
Let me add this too, real quick on him, Nick. He's gotten taller. He's about 6'1", 187 now, and he
Okay.
wasn't 6'1". When I saw him play against Shiloh up at the start of the season, he wasn't. I looked at him Thursday when he came to practice. I said, "You've grown some," because I know as short as I am, I haven't gotten any shorter, and so he's gotten taller. And me and Marty Houston were standing there, and I made sure he understood I wasn't getting shorter. I'm already too short now, but no, seriously, laying jokes aside, he's gotten taller, and that's good because he probably the ideal situation for him. He wants to get to 6'3". Can he do that? I don't know,
It's
but
gonna be for his genetics to decide.
right. But if he can, that'll really help him as far as some of this goes. But 6'1" in eighth grade, hey, he's got a great future ahead of him if he never grows another inch. I will say that.
And we've
This is a
had
big
him
time
and
kid.
we've had him on a recruiting report, and I will link that below in the
Yeah.
story. And he was just as great of a person than he was an athlete. He was
He,
very well spoken for an eighth grader at the time.
he is, and that's the thing that's impressed me. He's got beyond. He's obvious. He can make throw. I put in. I put a video out there. I think it may be in his. It is in his story that I ran Friday. Watch that video. It says my first drive at the Under Armour game. He played in the Under Armour game. He makes throws, Nick, that seniors in high school can't make on that drive. Some seniors, I mean, he makes throws as an eighth grader on that first drive, and that's all you have to watch is that first drive to see he can make throws that much older kids cannot make. And I told him that, I mean, it's impressive. You need to watch it if you haven't seen that because it's very well worth a couple of minutes of your time.
And if this Holstein quarterback's getting all the offers around the country, you better believe Kane Archer, as he keeps growing and keeps
Right.
maturing, is going to have a lot more than 24 letters by the time he's
Well,
ready to commit to college.
it'd
So
be interesting. I bet Hosteen, and I'd love that kid, but I bet he didn't have three offers in the eighth grade. Three Power Five offers, not
and
just offers, but
and
three Power Five.
and we're seeing now Arkansas starting to chase that quarterback position a little more with some names. Now let's go to another offensive weapon. This has been a room that we've discussed before. It's the wide receiver core and this kid named Anthony Evans, who you said has got some blitzing speed. Um,
Yeah,
and
he
he's
committed.
committed.
Yeah, he committed November the 25th, I believe it was, to Arkansas. And here's a kid that can 6'1", about 170, and he's a very good receiver. He caught 35 passes, 491 yards, and 3 touchdowns last year. But here's what's better about him. Even he reminds me a little bit of Isaiah over at Fayetteville, Isaiah Sigtegna. He's got very good speed. He hadn't ran the 100 meters since the ninth grade. He goes out there and runs a 10.6 at the 100 meters, 21.59 in the 200. And this is just first of the track season. And he's on relay teams. And here's the kicker with him. When Arkansas took him, he was he's still a 3-star, but he had some so-so offer. Yesterday, Georgia offered him. Last week, Nebraska offered him.
Mhm.
The schools are not going to stop recruiting him because he's committed to Arkansas. I guess that's why I'm getting at. And so Georgia offered him yesterday, and there's going to be more schools offer him. But right now, he's still solid to Arkansas, and that's what you want out there at wide receiver. You want some track speed, and that's what they're getting with Evans. He's from Converse Judson in Texas. 2023 commitment, by the way.
And I don't think Sam Pittman's had anyone poached anytime recently. I know they've done some poaching, but it seems like an Arkansas commit's usually pretty solid when it comes to Sam Pittman.
That's a great point, Nick. They don't have very many decommitments. They really don't. And that's a great point there.
Yeah, so we'll see if Anthony Evans can stay strong with Arkansas. Looking good so far to add more speed into that room. That's a wide receiver group young that is already exciting for
Yeah.
Razorback fans. As we evaluate these kids on this show and you help us break down all these new recruits and everything, it's time for Sam Pittman and his staff to do the same thing. It's the spring evaluation period in 2 weeks. So for those who don't know, what is the spring evaluation period and how is Arkansas going to use that period that runs from April 15th to May 31st?
Yeah. Here's what it is. The head coach cannot go out, but the 10 on-field assistants can. So the 10 position coaches can go out. You're allowed 168 days on the road. And that I know people will look at it and say that's 45. No, each coach counts as a day. So if you've got, say you have 4 coaches, you can send out 42 times, 42 days. But you got 10 coaches out there, but here's what you can do. You're allowed to go to the school twice. One time you can go and do the evaluation of his athletic ability. The other one, you can do the academics. But now here's the kicker on that. If you want to, you can go to the first time and you can do the academics and the athletic, and then you can go back another time and do the athletic again. So you get to see 2 chances as a kid if you do
bang for your buck there.
Yeah. And so I imagine, I'm not out there with those coaches, but I would imagine anytime possible, they will do the academic and the athletic evaluation at the first. That way, if you want to, you can go back and do this another athletic evaluation, because you're going to learn what you need to know on that first time on the academics.
Yeah, and you get a month.
That transcript. Yeah, you're going to know, because from April 15th to May 31st, academics are not going to change that much. If a kid's got
good point. Yeah,
and good academics, it's not going to change in 6 weeks. Whereas you might watch a kid one day as far as athletic ability, and maybe he's not feeling well. It happens. Or maybe he didn't get much sleep the night before, or whatever reason. I'm just saying, you go back that second time, and I've had coaches tell me, when they go back the second time, they see a lot different prospect. So you never know. It's nice to get you'd love to get 2 evaluations on athletic ability on everybody. You can't do that because of your limit on 168 visits, but you on the ones that you've got, some kids you probably don't need 2 on. You go out here
and you're like, yeah, I've seen what I needed to see. I like what I see.
There's some kids out there, no brainers. Absolutely. Well, but you take a kid that you're looking at a position, and maybe you're short there, like it's a quarterback position, and Arkansas doesn't have a commitment, and they didn't sign one last year. And you may be thinking, I'd like to get all the valuations on these kids I could get. The Hosting, the Malachi Singletons, the Johnson kid, Anthony Johnson up in Kansas. You want to get as many valuations on those as you can, and and so therefore it's good to use that visits wisely, and that's why I think you'll see a lot of valuations on academics and athletic ability in the first one, and that leaves you open for the second one to watch them again.
And this is why when we talk about new coaching hires here, you always emphasize the recruiting report about assistants, because this is where assistants come so much in handy as their recruiting ability, because Sam Pittman cannot do anything really in this month and a half. So this is when your assistants start to make you your money, as they say in the recruiting business.
Well, yeah, you've got to have guys that are going to come back, and you got to hire people that you can trust to make an evaluation, because missed evaluation can cost you a long time, and as far as ball games are concerned. And that's why Sam feels really good. And he did comment on Dominic Bowman and and coaches and stuff coming in, that they've done a real good job, and so we'll have to see how it goes here on the road. But I think Bowman's gotten all those defensive backs in here. Deke Adams, he got Jordan Dominic, So Coach Pittman has been real pleased with so far of Dominic Bowman and Deke Adams, and we'll see how it goes. But we talked 2 or 3 weeks ago about all those defensive backs that came in on that last prospect day they had. That was impressive. And we'll
Yeah, the
keep
whole
going on
list
and
goes.
on about that visit. But I mean, he had so many defensive backs here. It's unheard of. And I mean, you're going to get some of those kids. And really, there was a bunch of 4 stars here and some 5 stars for that matter. He had some studs here, all the way from Virginia to Texas to Louisiana to all over
It'll,
Alabama. They had them everywhere.
and now you might see Kendall Briles getting a little fill with some of these quarterbacks that could be of interest.
And I will add this real quick. I'll add this. This is the first time since Sam Pittman's been hired they've had the evaluation period. The first year, everything was knocked out because of COVID. And then last year, they weren't allowed to go out. What was it? June the 1st, they lifted all the restrictions on campus and going out. I mean, on campus. By then, it was too late to send the coaches out. But so this will be the first time in 3 years they've actually got to take advantage of the evaluation period.
And that will be huge for Sam Pittman and his squad. And of course, when that April 15th deadline or that starts, we'll be looking at you, Otis, to see who the heck these guys are going after.
That's the day before their little open scrimmage that everybody can go to over there. That's the Friday. That's a Friday because they got that 16th. It's a Saturday with everybody. So far, I've got to see 5 practices. I didn't get to see the scrimmage yesterday, but everybody can go to that April 16th scrimmage and watch that. And so I know people are thrilled about that because this is going to be a good football team. I really believe that. They've got some really good players here. Once again, I think Sam hit it at transfer portal. We all talk about how well Eric Musselman does there and Dave Van Horn, and they do great. But Sam does a great job with that portal, with the transfer portal evaluation too. And anymore, that's how you lose all the players that you lose and don't have a down season because you can go replace them with 6, 7, 8 kids out of the transfer portal, and you hit the right ones. We saw what Eric did. He lost a bunch of kids off that 16 team. But what did he do? He went and got reloaded and went right back. I mean, Elite 8. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Elite 8
went right back there.
Right back to the Elite 8. So, yeah, I'll leave basketball to Kevin. I'm going in the Sweet 16. They were in the Elite 8. But anyway, what I'm saying is it gives you a chance. You don't have to reload with unknowns. I guess everybody to a degree is an unknown. But if somebody's done it at other Division I schools and power, you sure cut down on the chance of an error on a kid. You get a David, Jaden Hazelwood. There's a lot less risk there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Going to a
yeah. Let's just get the
that's my point. And you can go down to every player and say that.
Yeah, let's just go get the number 1 receiver out of high school at the time. Hazelwood now coming over to Arkansas. So, Otis, we're going to be keeping in touch with you about who they're looking at coming into the future. Obviously, quarterback, a big emphasis in this Arkansas football recruiting report. We'll have much more next week. I can hear the dogs want to go out, Otis, so I'll let you take care of them.
Good there to end this segment with. Thanks, man.
Otis going to go for a walk. That'll wrap up our Arkansas football recruiting report.